Hi guys, this is Natalie from dachaliving.com, and I'm in my car because my housemate is in my condo and I don't like talking into these when I have someone in the house. The ironic thing is I'm in my car and there's like a lady like looking at me filming in my car, and I'm not even using like a camera, I'm using my laptop. So my laptop is literally sitting on my dashboard, and the lady just looked into my car like just now. And yeah, I feel really silly, and I like had to drive my car around to find the right spot where the sun wasn't in my eyes, but it was bright enough. Oh my God, this is like the most public place ever. I don't know, it almost feels safer when I'm sharing in private. But the irony is I'm planning on posting this and sharing it up with the world. I don't know, but I really feel called to share. There's been a lot happening these last couple of weeks. I've been really just like, feeling really sluggish and uninspired. I've been feeling pressured to create and share. And to be honest, I'm in a very humble place in my life where I don't feel like I have a whole ton to share. I'm kind of in a phase where I feel like I'm listening more and pulling wisdom. And I finally, yesterday, had a really beautiful realization after a story that would like to share with you about sharing the more, I don't want to even say vulnerable sides of yourself, but my aunt was telling me about a recurring dream that she kept having. And in this dream, she was exploring a house. And every time she would walk into this house in her dream, it would be like a familiar house, like either her house or someone's house that she knew. And she would stumble across a room. And this room she'd never seen before, and she'd open the door and she'd be like, "What? I didn't know this house had this room in it. How cool is that?" And and this kept recurring, and each time she would open a new door or discover a new space within this allegedly familiar house within her dream. And I guess, so I'm not trying to say vulnerable side, but just new sides. And, we think that we are a certain way and that we have to stick to that. But as we change and as we evolve, you may uncover parts of yourself that you didn't really know you had. And so that's a story I want to share with you. 2 nights ago, Preston and I went on this, I can't talk because I'm nervous and I'm looking at this little boy with a dog. It's really cute. So 2 nights ago, Preston and I went to a workshop in LA. We worked all day and then we drove to the workshop together in the evening. And it was like a mindful relationship workshop, and it was comprised of talking a little bit about common things that happen in relationships that we don't really talk about, such as desiring other people occasionally, or loving someone that you shouldn't, or being in a good relationship and still once in a while, or sometimes even often, wondering whether this is really the right relationship, because sometimes things get really, really muddy and really, really sucky. And I, for one, find that I'm not sure. I'm never sure. I feel like, if this were the right relationship, wouldn't it be easier? Is that true or not? Or are we compatible with multiple types of people, and we happen to be in a relationship that we are compatible with, but it still takes effort? So it's like, is it really a matter of effort, or is it about, finding someone who you're compatible with so it's effortless? Which one of those is it? And I think that in a way it's both. You need to be in some ways compatible and have common goals, but you also both have to be willing to work. That's the thing I'm noticing about a lot of these contradicting perspectives that are so strong. And what I'm finding is that there's truth to both sides. So how can you find a place in between? What I'm learning is that the truth can also lie in the middle, as in both truths can be true at the same time. And it's worth embracing that and cultivating balance. All right, so after this event was over, we were sitting in a circle, and there was this woman named Biji, and I'm gonna say her name because I don't know anything about her. I don't know where she's located, but she walked in with her husband, and her in particular, she had this like bright energy, just super happy, super inspired, glowing. She was beautiful. Her makeup was perfect. Her attire was perfect. And in addition to that, she also just had this like aura of trust in the universe and sense of awe and wonder and inspiration. I hated her. I was like, fake. Fake. There is no way that she is so that in love with her husband and they haven't had any problems because they have this soul connection because they're human too. I bet you they have fights. Da, 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 da. There's no way. Da, 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 da. I was really triggered by her. And at some point, we were sharing in a circle what we witnessed and experienced during this like chakra dance that we were doing. And Preston did it too. It was great. And Preston asked the question, is it really compatibility that we're looking for, or are all relationships what you put into it? That's a really good question. And this Beachy girl came up to him after the session was over, and she was like, I have your answer to your question. And she started speaking in like this spiritual jargon, talking about the Lion's Gate opening. And she said that since the Lion's Gate opened, the time has shifted from 3D into like a spirally sensation. And Preston, bless his heart, was just like, oh, wow, thank you. And he's so tactful, much more tactful than I think I could have been, because I had no idea what he was talking about. And it just sounded very woo-woo, which is one of my favorite words to use when I'm describing something that seems spiritually out there. Out there is just a perspective, but based on my limited perspective that I've in the world that I've been living in, still coming from a pretty scientific, Western, conventional medicine background, sometimes this stuff sounds woo-woo to me, which I think is good because I love chakras and stuff like that and finding balance. Anyway, this woman made me so uncomfortable. I didn't understand what she was saying, and second of all, I was like, get away from my boyfriend. Like, can you stop talking to him? And the next day, and Preston afterwards was like, do you know what she said? And I was like, nope. So that was that. It was a really great event. It was releasing and just wonderful, and I love the teachers that I was with. So the next day, I was just like, Preston and I were chatting, and we asked each other, like, what is our deepest priority in a relationship? And I told Preston, I was like, I know touch is really important to you. You love when I give you massages, and you like it when I scratch your head, and you like it when I hug you and when I kiss you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how critical is touch to you in a relationship? And he said, it's a 7. And I was like, really? I thought that would be like number 10, like top of the list. And he said, no, it's a 7, which is pretty high. And so I was like, okay, so what's a 9 or a 10? And he said, feeling as if you'll be there for me, trusting that you'll be there for me if shit goes down, if something bad happens, if my parents get sick and they have to move in with us someday, and knowing that you'll be there for them. Or my car breaks down on the freeway 5 hours away, and knowing that you would come and get me if that had to happen, or that you would bail me out of jail if that happened. And I was like, wow, I was so blown away, because that wasn't something that I had considered. I always just took it for granted. Of course I'll be there for you if that happens. And I was like, well, have you been feeling that I might not be there for you? And He's like, in a way, yeah. And I asked, when did you start feeling that way? And I think the way that men sometimes perceive women is as wishy-washy, and especially women who are always trying to figure out the balance between giving and supporting others, but also setting boundaries for ourselves. It can come across as us being all over the place and constantly fluctuating. But the truth is, women are cyclical beings. We're not meant to function at the same height or intensity as men are. We fluctuate, and that's how we work, and that's how nature works, and that's how so many different things work. So I think it's important to acknowledge that and help your partner understand that it's not wishy-washy. You're just a woman, and that's normal to have mood swings. It's normal to feel one way about one thing on one day. Like, it's normal to crave vegetables one day, and then maybe you crave meat and dairy another day. It's normal. It's okay. It's not wishy-washy. You're a woman, and it's natural. So that helped clear a lot of things up. And it was my turn, and Preston asked me, like, what's number 10, or what's number 7 on your list? Number 7 for me is probably like helping out with the chores and feeling like my partner's on the same team with me. Number 10 is actually presence. I need presence more than anything else, and it comes from a deep, 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 deep need to be validated and understood. And I realized this because of freaking Bijie. So I think the reason that certain people make us uncomfortable is, number one, to an extreme, maybe we're jealous of them in some way. Maybe what I was like, damn, this girl's like happy all the time. I wish I was happy all the time. And then there's a part of me that's like, nah, she's delusional. So that's one reason they might make us uncomfortable. The other reason I think people can make us uncomfortable is that they can make us feel alone and separate because they're highlighting something that's a difference. Something is different between you and that person, and you're worrying, well, what if they're right? That would make me wrong. Which, if you remember what I said earlier, there can be opposing sides and both can still be true. So that can be helpful. But in this particular case, Bijie was highlighting a part of myself that I was hiding. And I didn't like that. I was kind of like, hey, I want to be like in awe all the time. And I noticed that sometimes when I'm really inspired, I want to share that moment with someone else. The person that I'm with, I want them to also be inspired. I want us to create this like gratitude orgasm and just be like, wow, life is just beautiful and incredible. And I noticed that I hide my inner Bijie because I don't want Preston to think I'm too woo-woo or too spiritual. And unfortunately, that's a side of me that I've been hiding. It's that room that I've been neglecting. And I want to be able to be that way and not feel judged and know that Preston will love that side of me too. And that has been extraordinarily helpful. And so I told Preston, I need your presence. And I asked him, do you ever feel like Bijie? Do you ever feel just in awe of nature? Or do you ever feel amazed or extraordinarily grateful? And just for like a moment, you feel like there's something bigger than you. And he's like, of course I feel that way. And I was like, you do? Like, men feel that way? Like non-spiritual, I guess, men feel that way? And he's like, of course I do. It's just that I don't need to share it. And I'm like, oh, okay. That makes sense. It also explains why when sometimes Preston and I are on trips, I want to take pictures so that I can look at them later and be like, wow, that was really wonderful. Whereas Preston sees taking pictures as like not being in the moment anymore, which is totally valid. In other words, both of our truths are true. It's not one is better or wrong compared to the other. So that was really, really transformational. So what I communicated to him, I was like, well, I need to know that you're present sometimes. And one of the best ways to let me know that you're present is to share when you're feeling inspired or when you're feeling gratitude. Because if you don't speak your mind or express it, I have no way of knowing that you're present, and I need to know that you're present. Would it be possible for you, when you're feeling present, to express a detail of the moment that you're enjoying? I'm really enjoying this sunset with you. This food is exquisite. I love its salty sweetness. Are you hearing the birds right now? Just things that also pull me into the moment and also into his particular experience of the moment. Is so precious. So it's just amazing. And it's almost like I need Preston to be a little bit more beigey, and he needs to be a little bit more solid sometimes. And it's just so, so, so inspiring, and I felt like I have to share it. And this video has turned into 15 minutes long, but it was worth it. It was good. It was a good vlog. Thank you for listening. This was just tremendous. I am going to stop recording in this sauna of a car and head out to go to swing class, because Preston is actually in Las Vegas right now delivering a kayak, I think, which may or may not have sold. But I get the bed to myself tonight. I get to do whatever I want tonight. Time to party. All right, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.